nice verse for us. And Texie, will you be able to introduce our speaker?
Yes, greetings, Every.Black family. Michael Stewart-Isaacs has over 20 years of experience in the field of business development, technology, and new media. He is an entrepreneur that overcame troubled beginnings to become a well-respected business mind and is the son of the African diaspora, with parents that firmly encouraged a cultural education. Michael is the co-founder of I Am Brilliant, leading community leaders on issues related to education, social justice, and economic inclusion throughout the United States. He operates in a straightforward approach with interactive storytelling and a hilarious sense of humor that engages even the toughest audience. Every.Black family, please join me in welcoming Michael Stewart-Isaacs.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all very much. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate that. Jimmy, you're awesome. Thank you very much for having me tonight. I am so excited to be back here with Every.Black. Jimmy has been doing this amazing vision of his for so many years, and I'm fortunate to have had the opportunity to experience this from day one, and I'm just excited to be back and re-engaging with the group. Just happy to just talk a little bit about why I'm here tonight. Tonight, my organization, my name again is Michael Stewart-Isaacs. I put my information in the chat. So this is kind of where, we kind of open up. I am the founder of a company called I Am Brilliant. And my primary company is called Mosaic. I'm the CEO. So my story is a little unique in regards to entrepreneurship. I have been an entrepreneur for almost 25 years, believe it or not. I know I don't quite look like it, but I started my first business when I was at the age of 13. And I moved to North Carolina very young. And I was a troubled kid originally from the Brooklyn, New York area. And so my background was very clear. Like I was one of those kids who everyone created the stereotypes of what you should be as the troublemaker, class clown, all the above. And when I got older to the point of my teenage years, someone told me that the same energy it takes to get in trouble, you could be what we call in business risk subversive. So when I was young, I decided my mother used to do a lot of flea markets and those types of things. So I got first involved by seeing the retail process. And then from there, I started my first company, which was a promotions company. So this is the part me and Jimmy love talking about. So my background started in street team promotions. I don't know if anyone on here knows what street team promotions are. Brooklyn in the house, yes. Well, street team promotions is basically where you go out and you help to put up flyers and you come up with campaigns with up and coming artists and record labels. And it used to be the biggest. This was Twitter and Instagram and TikTok before all of those things. And I started this in the 1997, 96 era and got involved in the 1998 era. As an entrepreneur, when I say I'm an entrepreneur, I mean literally picking up the phones, creating the opportunities entrepreneur. So I started off working with record labels at the age of 13. And the number one reason was the most innovative technology at the time. You know what that technology was? Email. Back in the days, I was able to start my first business primarily utilizing technology, which is what I do today. But I leverage email as an opportunity to reach out to record labels and say, hey, do you have anyone in the Southeast region doing any types of promotions for you? And so from there, my career was able to kind of grow and start. And I was able to get major labels, one being Columbia Records, No Limit Records, Def Jam, and those types of record labels to sign up with me at the age of 13. Not knowing how old I was, just knowing that I was someone willing to do the work and I was eager and I had that new technology called email. So that's how I started in my business journey. From there, by the time I was 16 years old, I developed a clothing brand and I got featured in Black Enterprise magazine. And that right there kind of changed my life. I went from the kid who was the troublemaker to all of a sudden, I guess, what I didn't know, which was this newfound wave of attention and opportunities that started to find me when more people started to tell my story. Recently, there was a young man I had the pleasure of meeting. He owns a company called Spurgo, and he was on Shark Tank most recently. And he has a clothing brand, it's phenomenal. So I got to meet him at an event a few weeks back. And the one thing, it was such an amazing feeling because he reminded me of myself and the energy and the actions when I was young, where you take advantage of the youth that you have. A lot of us talk about legacies and generational wealth. but one of the greatest things is the ability to start early. So I started my story there with my youth, but my greatest part of my beginning of my story comes from, like you read in my background, I'm a son of the diaspora. So both of my parents are immigrants. My mother's from Sierra Leone, my father's from Jamaica. And so growing up, like I said, growing up in Brooklyn and then moving to the South, I kind of had a unique understanding of how different worlds and different translations had to go through. And that's kind of where I'm at today, where we fast forward to where my career has brought me. With my organization, I Am Brilliant. It's a partnership that I have with my wife, Shemeka Ebony, phenomenal woman, author of the book While I'm Getting Naked. And me and her brought our two worlds together. She was a community leader. I was pure entrepreneurship, entertainment background. And we took a lot of the energy that we had and we brought it together to say, how do we start spotlighting wonderful people in communities? And how do we start to tell their stories and start to show all the things that they're doing and put the same energy I used to put on top tier celebrities in promotions? How do we start putting that and spotlighting that on community leaders and other activists? And so we birthed this campaign called I Am Brilliant. We were fortunate to take it and start to just travel. And we started taking it different places. We were fortunate to be featured on Today's Show. And then it just kind of continued to explode from there. And we were able to continue just to engage people to realize that most people conceptually never have been asked what makes them brilliant. What is it about them that is special? What is it? A lot of times we get caught up in teaching and education, and our academics make us feel like that is the only way learning happens, is in that classroom, in that space. But we celebrate something we call lived experience, right? Everyone has an education. Everyone is learning something at any given time. And so we celebrate that with I Am Brilliant. It's not about intelligence more than it's about what is it about you that makes you illuminate? What is that thing in your life that lights you up? Because if that's the thing, then we show people how you take that energy and either apply that to your community or apply that to something entrepreneurial. And that's what I get to do every day, is build businesses, help organizations, institutions, colleges, and all of them find a way of taking what we can do to promote young, new, up-and-coming leaders, and also tell the story of people who haven't had the light shined on their story, and we put a spotlight on it. So kind of going back to how I got to this space, a lot of times we all kind of get caught up in an energy of how do we get to the next level? We think business is just about starting an LLC. How many people are guilty of that? They say, I got a business because I got an LLC, and then you're stuck. And you're like, what happens next? And so what we do, and what I do in particular, is because I have this track record in entrepreneurship, I've been in it for 25 years. I have all the complexion. You know, I was an entrepreneur before it was popular to be an entrepreneur. And I like to believe I'm one of the people out here that actually made entrepreneurship popular with some of the work and the things I've been able to do. But one of the things I saw was that economic development, financial understanding was something that had to go hand in hand with entrepreneurship. But a lot of times people didn't grow up hearing those types of conversations. So you had to learn, how do you teach people to learn from what they already know versus thinking that they have to learn something brand new and how to go. And a lot of that came from my life story. It comes from the immigrant parents' background, how they had to figure things out. I always tell people I'm two different kind of Blacks mixed up. So, you know, I had my mom speaking her African language at home. Now I have my dad speaking around his family. And so throughout life, I learned translation is the key to everything in business. Being able to be that person they call middleman or whatever is the ability to translate. And so I want to give a little bit of a tip of something that I'm worked on throughout the years. It's a system that through I Am Brilliant, that next year in 2022, I apologize, I'm launching a system called Entrepreneur. This is something that has been in development for over 10, 15 years, but it's a true blueprint on helping people do what it really takes towards being an entrepreneur. And it's not just the mindset of, I want to start a business or how do I make money? It actually digs into the mindset, the character, the habits, and the structure of business. So tonight, as I gave a little highlight of my story, and I encourage you all, I put in chat my links. It's too much to talk about in 20 minutes. So I want to give y'all a highlight of the work we do. Check out iambrilliant.org. Check out my other work with my promotional company, Hip Hop Wall Street. And then also have a sportswear brand called Board Nation USA, so you can see the businesses. But tonight, I just want to bring the human side of myself to this group. Like I said, I've been with Jimmy from day one. I'm grateful for him giving me this platform to share with all of you all. I know y'all all around the country, all around the world. So I'm just super pumped and super excited just to tell you about what I'm doing as an entrepreneur. But I also want to share how I got here, how, we all kind of go through the loops. And I was talking to someone earlier today. I said, entrepreneurship is unique because day one, when you start an entrepreneurship, you got to treat it like you're a baby, right? So that first year is no different than when you see a newborn baby trying to figure out the world, trying to learn to speak, trying to learn to walk and go through all these things. You have to grow with your business and regrow up another time, a second growing up that you have to go through as an entrepreneur. And you can't skip steps, right? You have to have the wherewithal to go through it, even when it gets difficult, even when the people around you don't agree with your vision. The key to vision is that you have to make other people see it. Right? A vision starts as someone's dream that then somehow they manifest to make other people start to see it as reality. And that's something that I feel within my wheelhouse and my expertise of sharing and engaging people. We try to help people really take a vision and manifest it. How do I manifest it? I know we talk about branding. I know we talk about legacy. I know we talk about all these buzzwords, but how do I truly manifest these things in real time? And so what I like to share tonight, which I'm super excited, is a little excerpt out of my Entrepreneur system, which is something I call the 5 Ps of self-determination. And anybody, like I said, check in chat. I put some information there. Like I said, so you can find any information, follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me there. And then we can definitely, follow any other platforms. So that way you can get more of an idea of all the things that I'm involved in. But at the same time, I share this with you tonight, the 5 Ps of self-determination. So again, Michael Stewart-Isaacs, the 5 Ps of self-determination starts with power, prestige, principles, profit, and protection. So I tell you this now because 5 Ps of self-determination is about the mindset. To be in this thing we call entrepreneurship, it's a sport. It's an athletic sport that you have to start to build a level of energy and muscle towards, kind of like the analogy of you have to grow up like a baby. You're getting stronger and stronger at it, but you can't skip steps and you have to grow. The first P that is most important, which is power. Power in business is not about control of other people. I think sometimes we get caught up in our business practices because things don't go our way. And we're like, this person didn't show up or this person didn't do this. But the one thing I've learned over the years within this self-determination mindset is that power in itself is simply one thing. It's control of yourself. Power is knowing who you are. And the most powerful thing you can do as an entrepreneur when you show up to your own self-determination is know everything about yourself and be perfectly honest with yourself, whether it's what we consider flaws, the mistakes you've made, or any of those other things. These things are the way, that's where you get your most power. I always tell people we're living resource. We're a living resource of oil, right? People don't grow up with gold mines or oil wells, but your own self, knowing who you are, being, as we use in business corporate, you'll say, be authentic, right? Being in your strongest, most confident power is the most authentic thing you can do, is knowing who you are. So therefore, no one can take you away from that thing you call a vision, right? So that's the first P of self-determination. Once you know who you are, the weirdest thing happens, which is the second P of self-determination. You gain a prestige. So once you have a full confidence and an understanding of who you are, there's something that radiates out of you that all of a sudden other people start to tell people, that's such and such. Oh yeah, he does this, or he's a plumber, or he's this person, or he's a DJ, or and what happens is once you have a place of doing things and knowing totally who you are, other people can't help but to give you that same promotion. And then from there, once you have the power and the prestige, then you gain principles from the interactions of life. And those principles are the things that most people want to learn. They want to know how you understand it out. The hardest thing I've learned through my work with I Am Brilliant is that most people do not fully understand who they are. We posture as if we know who we are, but sometimes we fully don't understand and realize who we are. So we do things inauthentic to ourselves and we burn ourselves out, putting energy towards things that don't bring us great value. But what you do in your life's mission when you're in self-determination mode Your power leads to people talking about your prestige, leads to you creating and establishing principles. And once you create principles to how you do go about the things you do, whether it's an investment strategy, whether it's how you deal with business, whether it's your schedule, those things become ingrained to continue to build into your self-determination. Once you establish that first level of mold, this is all about mindset shifting. Then from there, you're able to start to gain profit. And profit is not what people always think it is. Profit is really, I've come to learn in business, which is the same symbol of what this became tonight. It's about the relationships you gain. So the network you create, the people that you align yourself with, who you spend your time. I always tell people, I know we have friends from when we grew up in middle school and high school, and we want to keep everybody in our circles that we grew up with. But if people aren't yoked to you, if they're not aligned with your purpose, if they're not aligned with your destiny, then sometimes they can corrupt your initial authentic power, which then in itself can slow down your progress, slow down, your ability to grow. And so your profit in life is not about money. Money is akin to the value that you have within yourself. And then money follows the value that you're able to produce and hold and get other people to see the richness of it all. And that in itself is where the relationship aspect of profiting is a consistent thing. I don't know if anyone's ever heard the term, if I know what I know, it don't matter if I lose everything I have, but if I have the information or I have relationships, somebody's going to help me up, right? So we don't let the next person fall. My circle's not going to let me fall. That's what's the most profitable thing to keep you in a place of wealth mindset and self-determination is the relationships you establish that will establish profit in your life. And so the fifth P that I look to wrap this up is one of the most important ones. And I call this protection. So I ask people this simple thing, and you think about business or anything you secure in life. Why do you want to build a gate or a moat when you build a kingdom? It's because once you establish your personal power as king, queen, once you're able to have your prestige, where you have the people within the kingdom that start to follow and see what you're doing, then they follow in the guidelines and the laws of the principles you established, then the profit and the rewards because of that starts to fall into the kingdom. The number one thing you must do is build that gate and the moat. You must create protection. See, people always say it could take a lifetime to be able to establish your career or build a reputation. And it takes one moment for it all to come crumbling down. It takes one moment to have a good life and then someone come rob you of something you worked hard for because that was their easy gain or their come up. As I say, that happens in business. That comes in the form of people cheating you, bad business deals, lawsuits, so many other things that can come your way. And when you're in business as long as I have, you've seen them all, and you have to be able and willing to start back again with that power. Know who you are. If you know who you are at all times, whatever comes to headway to you in business within the principles of self-determination, you'll be able to withstand it. So right now I'm going to wrap it there. I just want to give an overview of a little bit of my career, a little bit of some of the methodologies that I share as a motivational speaker. My organization, again, is IamBrilliant.org. You can check us out. But I'm happy to open it up for questions. I want to stay within the 20-minute allotment time. So Jimmy, please let me know how you would like to proceed. But I definitely enjoy speaking with you. Like I said, all my information is in chat, and I'm open here for any questions you all may have.
I think you were excellent. And I can't help but think I've seen growth in you from 4 or 5 years, or I guess it was about 5 years ago, because your oldest is 4 years now. So about 5 years ago, when we were meeting at the Torchlight, when we were meeting in person, and Michael spoke then, and I was impressed, but I'm even more impressed now. But does anyone have any questions for Michael this evening?